In April 2016, after 4 months of silence, Craig Wright re-emerged. This time, he wasn't just the subject of speculation. He was taking control of the narrative. Major media outlets, including the BBC, The Economist, and GQ, were summoned to London under strict embargo. Wright promised to show the world definitive proof that he was Satoshi Nakamoto. After years of guessing and rumour, this was the moment the Bitcoin origin mystery might finally end. The BBC filmed Wright in a dimly lit room as he sat at a laptop. He claimed to sign a message using one of Satoshi's private keys, the cryptographic identifiers only the real Bitcoin creator could control. The signature, he said, would verify publicly that he was the person behind the pseudonym. Accompanying the event were blog posts on his website explaining how the proof worked, referencing Bitcoin's early code and his own recollections of writing it. To the mainstream press, it looked convincing. The BBC report stated he had digitally signed messages using cryptographic keys created during the early days of Bitcoin. They quoted Gavin Andresen, one of the first Bitcoin developers, who confirmed that he had personally witnessed Wright perform the demonstration and was convinced by it. For a brief moment, it seemed like the mystery was solved. Within hours, though, technical experts across the Bitcoin community began unpacking the details, and cracks appeared almost immediately. Analysts downloaded the so-called proof Wright had placed on his blog and discovered it wasn't a fresh cryptographic signature at all. The code referenced an old publicly available transaction from 2009 that anyone could have copied. It didn't demonstrate possession of Satoshi's private keys. Instead, it seemed like Wright had repackaged existing data and presented it as verification. Developers described the proof as meaningless. One called it a shell game dressed up as mathematics. The supposed smoking gun fizzled into thin air. The backlash was swift. On Reddit and Bitcoin Talk, users dissected every technical inconsistency line by line. Security researchers posted independent verifications showing that the digital signature was, in cryptographic terms, irrelevant. Wired ran a follow-up piece titled, "Craig Wright's Satoshi Proof is Useless." The Economist cautiously withheld judgment, noting that Wright may yet provide better evidence. Meanwhile, public opinion flipped almost overnight. Within 24 hours, the man who had supposedly ended a 7-year mystery was facing one of the most intense credibility meltdowns in tech history. Caught between skepticism and disbelief, Wright's responses shifted tone. In interviews, he grew defensive, suggesting critics would never accept any evidence he produced. He promised to perform a second conclusive demonstration using coins from one of Satoshi's earliest mind blocks, the same coins that had never moved since 2009. Moving those coins would have been absolute proof of identity. He scheduled the event, hinted that trusted intermediaries like John Matonis or Gavin Andresen would verify it privately, and told reporters that final extraordinary proof was coming. Then, suddenly, he cancelled. On May 5th, 2016, Wright posted a message on his website titled, "I'm sorry." In it, he declared that he no longer had the courage to continue the proof process, and that he would disappear from public life. The post read like a mixture of exhaustion and self-pity, part apology, part defiance. He deleted previous proof files, took down blog posts, and pulled back from media appearances. To outsiders, it looked like a full retreat. The long-awaited verification evaporated into another unsolved layer of the Bitcoin legend. The fallout was brutal. Gavin Andresen, who had initially supported Wright's claim, faced a backlash of his own. The Bitcoin Foundation revoked his commit access to the project's core code, a preemptive move to ensure security in case of compromise. Andresen maintained that the demonstration he saw in person had seemed authentic at the time, but admitted he could no longer stand by his endorsement without solid public proof. Wright's reputation in the Bitcoin community collapsed even further after that. Developers labeled him an imposter, journalists accused him of orchestrating a calculated publicity stunt, and former allies distanced themselves. Still, a small group of supporters clung to the belief that Wright really was Satoshi, arguing that he'd been driven away by the hostility of a skeptical community. Wright himself nurtured that narrative. He began emphasizing how he didn't want fame or adulation, that proving his identity wasn't for appearances but for technical and legal clarity. He claimed people had misunderstood his motives. Yet his next moves suggested otherwise. By late 2016, Wright resurfaced alongside billionaire gambling tycoon Calvin Ayre and launched nChain, a London-based blockchain firm built on hundreds of self-filed patents. Many recycled ideas already described in the Bitcoin white paper. It marked a shift from proving identity through code to proving it through ownership. To critics, it looked like a commercial repackaging of the "I am Satoshi" claim, this time designed to generate licensing fees and corporate legitimacy. To Wright's small circle, it was proof he wanted recognition for ideas others had supposedly stolen. But for most of the crypto world, the failure of the 2016 proof had settled the issue. Whatever his technical knowledge or ego, Craig Wright simply was not Satoshi Nakamoto. The core reason was simple. Satoshi's cryptographic keys were like fingerprints. They couldn't be faked, and only their true holder could generate valid signatures. The supposed proof from Wright used public data already visible on the blockchain. At no point did he move or sign a transaction using an early Satoshi-mined coin. The absence of that act, the simplest verification possible, spoke louder than any blog post or press release. In hindsight, the 2016 events marked a turning point in how Wright approached his identity claim. Before the failed proofs, his argument rested on documentation, and afterward, it shifted toward authority, law, and proprietary ownership. Having lost credibility in the technical community, he began building legitimacy through the courtroom instead of code. Over the following years, he would file lawsuits asserting that he was the author of the Bitcoin white paper, the rightful owner of blockchain copyrights, and the creator of Bitcoin itself. It was a transformation from alleged inventor to litigious claimant, a new phase that kept his name in headlines long after most people stopped entertaining his proofs. For the broader crypto world, the 2016 verification attempt became a cautionary tale about evidence, trust, and showmanship. In a space built on verifiable computation, Wright had offered narratives instead of math, and stories instead of signatures. The technical reality didn't bend to publicity. Every claim could be checked, none passed the test. That gap between rhetoric and cryptographic truth became the defining pattern of his career, one that would continue to echo through each subsequent lawsuit and confrontation. By the end of that year, Wright stood as both infamous and oddly empowered. He had failed the ultimate proof, yet leveraged the publicity into business ventures and alliances that extended his reach into blockchain's legal and corporate corridors. The world hadn't accepted him as Satoshi, but it hadn't forgotten him either. His failed verification became his brand, a paradox he would exploit for years to come.